Hello, I'm Anita, founder of Anita's List and host of the Anita's List podcast. Over the last 20 years, I've helped more than 12,000 first-time parents choose all their baby kit and prepare for parenthood, both practically and emotionally. I'm delighted to welcome the wonderful Anna Strozek, founder of Feed Your Body, Not Your Mind, and a certified psycho-nutritionist and positive psychology coach. Anna helps women transform their relationship with food and make peace with their bodies and their minds. Anna shares so much wisdom and many top tips for us all, whether we are a new parent, expecting a baby, or simply curious about how we can transform our relationship with food. This in turn can have so many positive ripple effects, not only in our lives, but also in the lives of our children and families. I so hope you enjoy our conversation and find it helpful too. So, Anna, I'm so happy to have you here today. Oh my gosh. I mean, the amount of golden nuggets that you have in your lived and your learned experience, I thought, right, Anna has to come onto this podcast. And I'm so excited for everyone listening today because for the first time, I have a guest who's not a parent. And I have this idea that maybe we can coin a new expression, because I haven't heard it before. I don't know if you have, but to be parent curious or baby curious.
Oh, sounds amazing.
How cool is that?
I definitely
Because
agree with that.
the global fertility rate has been dropping. I think it's halved in the last 70 years. So it's quite a crisis. And so it's really interesting to speak to people about their thoughts and their feelings about parenthood before they're a parent, as well as while they're expecting or when they're at the other side and they actually are a fully fledged parent.
Absolutely.
So, I hope that this podcast would actually be for the baby curious and the parent curious, as well as the expectant parent, as well as the parent. So I'm so excited. You're launching us in to that conversation.
So exciting. And thank you for having me.
Such a pleasure.
Really look forward to this conversation.
Yay. We've had so many conversations over the last 7 months because we've been sharing. We were introduced, weren't we, by the lovely Jessica Huey. But tell us now, for our listeners, what's been your journey? How are you here in this studio right now with so much to share with the world?
No, thank you so much. Thank you for having me on, and I'm so grateful to Jessica and to the universe that it puts our paths together. And yes, definitely, when we met for the first time, it felt completely different. It's like the energy. I really do believe that sometimes we can't say things with words, but we can feel them with the energy. And this is what we definitely feel from other people. So yes, I'm really, really grateful for that.
We're both quite good huggers as well.
That is
There was a
true.
hugging situation going
Absolutely.
on. I seem to
Yeah,
remember.
100%. I love hugs.
I love hugs.
It's probably the best way to say things without saying a word sometimes.
Yeah.
So yes, my journey has been really, really amazing. I can say it in hindsight. If you asked me this question 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I definitely wouldn't say anything like that. I struggled with emotional eating and binge eating disorder for almost 25 years of my life. It started, and I do remember that first conscious moment. I think it was when I was around 9 years old, and we were in a class and the nurse came and we had that situation when we were all measured. It was all of us in the class standing and we were measured, and our height and our weight as well. And I do remember, I don't know why, but I do remember that I was 64 kilograms back then. So it's just under 10 stones, and a laughter in the classroom. And that was probably the first moment when I realized that something is not right here. I have no idea why everyone is laughing. Something must be wrong with me. And yes, and then
It's so public, isn't it? And so young.
Yes.
Do you remember that laughter for anyone else in the class, or did you only hear it for you?
I can only remember this moment.
Yeah,
So I
interesting.
think it shocked me, and it's almost like a snapshot.
Yeah, because it might have happened to others, but actually you were so in your, oh my gosh.
100%. But it's like I only focus on me. And then yes, high school, university, trying hundreds of different diets, doing a lots of not very reasonable things because I was doing a lot of restrictive diets, a lot of starvation moments, and I was fluctuating basically between, I would say, 70 kilograms, which is around 12 stone, under 12 stone, and 120 kilograms, which is around 19 stone throughout my entire life until 5 years ago when I was 34.
Yeah.
I actually met my psycho-nutritionist. I found her somewhere on the Insta story. And the sentence which she was saying was, if you've tried everything in your life to lose weight, you've got nothing to lose. Try this. Yeah. And I was like, this is very interesting. And I met her, and I started approaching the weight loss from completely different perspective. That was the moment when I understood that it's got nothing to do with how much I eat and how much I exercise. Because if I don't change my mindset, if I don't start addressing the habits, nothing will change for a long in a long term or for a long time. So yeah,
that's incredible. How long was it from when you first met her or first had a session with her to when that penny really dropped and it became a proper lifelong habit?
I do have to say that within the first 2 weeks of us working together, it was online course because I do have to say that I didn't have enough courage to talk to her face to face. I was in so much shame and guilt and judgment.
Well, and the beauty of online, isn't that amazing?
Yes,
that you were able to,
exactly.
otherwise you wouldn't have, would you?
It was incredible.
Yeah.
And yes, and it was within the first 2 weeks, I remember that I started literally every single thing which I was eating. I was asking myself a question, do I like it or do I think that I like it? Because I'm one of those people who convinced themselves that, or I convinced myself that I couldn't eat bananas for 10 years because they had too much sugar. But then in the evening, pretty much every evening, I was binging on chocolate, ice cream, chocolate cake, etc., eating literally kilograms of sugar sometimes. So this is how it was. I was in that mindset that, restrictions, I can't do this, I can't do that.
So you met your lovely psychonutritionist, and then did you think, okay, how did you weave that journey into a career change and following your passion and sharing your experience, which is really a personal thing?
This is a beautiful question because all of this started actually when I started doing that online course run by my psychonutritionist. Around a month after I started, she was doing a workshop in person in London, and I signed up for that workshop. And I was sitting at the back. I was probably around 40 kilograms bigger than what I am now. And she asked a question, is there anyone who's doing my online course here? And I didn't have enough courage to actually raise my hand and admit, because I was still so ashamed that I'm probably the only person in the world who's struggling with eating, because it's such a natural thing that, I really believe that everyone else has got it sorted. I'm the only one who can't stop myself from eating. So we started doing this. So I started doing this online course. That workshop was actually about psychonutrition. And probably around the same time, I met my coach as well. And I started getting really into self-growth.
Yes.
And probably it took me around 6 months when I realized this is so fascinating. I really want to learn more and more about psychonutrition and psychology of change, because that was I already knew a lot about nutrition because spending so many years counting calories and doing everything, I was almost like an expert. And now adding psychology to this and a little bit of mindfulness, etc., I really started finding it fascinating. So it was around 18 months later when I've decided, okay, I already had quite big transformation.
Yes.
And for me, the transformation in our head is always much more important than the transformation in our physical body, because I do believe that our body is a mirror reflection of our subconscious mind. So the moment we start making changes in our habits, body needs to follow. It's impossible that changes won't be happening. So around that time, I've decided, okay, it's time to do something. And it was actually the middle of lockdown when I started studying psychonutrition, and it was a year course. It was online, and it was done at one of the universities in Poland, because I originally come from Poland.
Yeah.
So this is how I spent my part of my lockdown, spending 1 weekend a month, fully immersed in that conversation, and it was absolutely fascinating. The number of things I still discovered, because I have all of a sudden I have become my best clients almost, because best and worst at the same time, because I was sabotaging so much during that journey as well, and I was still dealing with my eating disorder back then. So then when I finished, when I graduated in the beginning of 2022. I started working with clients, and I was still working in my full-time job. It took me over a year to actually start making decisions. Okay, let's open up my business. Let's take it a little bit more seriously.
Yeah.
And literally after a few months of doing online coaching, online group coaching, I've realized that there is no better satisfaction than helping people to get onto the other side of that eating problems. Because for me, it is the biggest freedom you can get when you know that food is not controlling you, that you can literally just do whatever you want to do, and you are not imprisoned by shame and guilt and constant judgment in your head. When your inner critic is not only judging you from time to time, but it feels like it's got 3 full-time jobs.
Yes.
And it's just, on one hand, it's just, it's the finding thousands of reasons to feel ashamed and feel guilty, thinking about everything what has happened up to now, and trying to second guess my decisions throughout my entire life. It is really, really tiring. And something what was really fascinating, actually, I learned that when I was studying, that for someone who's struggling with challenging relationship with food, let's call it like that, or body dysmorphia, because those normally goes together.
Yeah.
Those conversations about what I'm going to eat, how people are going to judge me, or how many times shall I go to the gym, go for a walk, and judging ourselves for everything what's happened, guilt, shame, etc. It takes up to 85% of our internal space. So 85% of our thoughts are surrounded around that topic. And for someone who's got healthy relationship with food and with their bodies, this is around 20-25% of internal space.
So it's really noisy.
Massive.
And how extraordinary. So someone who doesn't have those challenges or face those challenges, I think this conversation is so valuable that we can understand someone who might.
Yes.
Because actually it's all those things, that empathy and the relatability and, well, you look fine, you feel fine. Because it's not just to the visible eye, is it? Because some people, to our social norm, will look healthy, but actually won't be at all, in fact. So it's interesting. It's size could be larger or less with the emotional eating. I guess either way, couldn't it?
I would say that around 40% of my clients, they would be very slim, and or according to the social norm, but they would be struggling a lot with binge eating. And it's literally just starving themselves during the day, so then in the evening they can actually eat as much as they possibly can. And something what is really important here is having those conversations, and that's the reason why I'm so passionate about raising awareness around emotional eating, because we sometimes think that binge eating is, going to McDonald's and eating a lot of McDonald's or eating a lot of chocolates at once. But the reality is that binge eating can be you having 5 pieces of chocolate, but eating them without even realizing that.
Right. So it's more habitual. It's just a mechanical process.
Exactly. And something what is kind of controversial, and if you said that to me a few years ago, I would probably get really annoyed and frustrated, because the reality is that emotional eating is a habit. This is a learned behavior. And the best thing about all of this is that we can unlearn it.
Yes, and you're the living example of this. So this is why I really wanted to talk to you in this public space, because it is a conversation that we don't really have, actually. And as parents, it affects. I put on 33 kilos twice with each of the girls when I was pregnant. And I was pregnant for the first time in Italy, the second time in England. Italy was like, no, you mustn't eat. They were very controlling on what we were eating. It was very interesting. And in England, it was like, yes, eat as much as you want. You're eating for two. I mean, what is that whole, I don't know if you have any views on the eating for two thing, but, it's just eat away. Because I think I ate because that prevented me feeling sick. So I just grazed for 9 months. And at the end of it, the girls were walking along the street with me, walking. And someone would ask me when I was due. And I was like, no, child, out, walking, not still pregnant. And there's that whole thing around after you've had a baby as well. Eating and one's relationship with food and the comfort food. And where does that all stem from? Is it linked to our childhood?
There are lots of different things, but definitely starts in childhood. And just before we go there, you said about eating for two, and I think there is a difference between eating for two and eating to nourish two.
Right. Yes.
Because there is a big difference between us eating for the sake of eating and us eating because we want to nourish ourselves. And we'll go back to that, I'm sure, later on.
I love that idea, because that feels very kind to oneself, and it feels quite thoughtful as well.
Yes, and you know what is very interesting, and this is, and I've spoken to a lot of experts who have been working with clients with bulimia or binge eating disorders. And we all agree in one point. One of the biggest reasons why we actually binge eat is the fact that we are not eating enough nutrition. So we are not nourishing ourselves enough. Because the way it works is, and it's very fascinating, because there were researches done on two groups. There were two groups who, both of them could eat a buffet lunch for 60 minutes. Group number one had a buffet with processed food, and group number two had a buffet with whole foods. And after 60 minutes, they were all full, but the reality was that the first group ate on average 500 calories more than the second group. Because the reality is that if we don't eat enough nutrition, then our body is asking for more. And when it's asking for more, we might be eating more processed foods. And it's still not getting the nutrition, so it's asking for more and for more. And I'm not saying that there is something wrong with processed food, apart from the everything what's known. I really do believe that balanced approach is the best approach. Because if you ask me what diet is the best diet, the best one is the one which you can keep or follow until the end of your life.
Yes, especially when you are a parent and you have many responsibilities for the next generation. Actually, we should be thinking about ourselves in that way, because we rarely do, as parents, put ourselves first. We just don't, because somehow the children come along and it's all about the children. But actually, if we don't look after ourselves, how can we look after them?
Yes. That is so true, and we can go to that previous question where
I'm not letting you answer the questions.
No, because the thing is that all those questions
so
will be answered
many.
here.
Yeah, I love
and it's the fact why, or actually the answer to the question why we sometimes eat and we have no idea why we eat, because it is quite often people will be saying, I just love food.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I eat. Or this is just who I am.
Yep.
It's quite often this is the answer. But the reality is that because food is with us, and especially dessert, sweet foods, so-called comfort food, is with us since very early age. We just grew up with it, and we don't even realize that it becomes the rewards, a punishment, a comfort, and we just keep seeking for it. And it starts very, very, very early, because we do need to realize that the very first contact which we have as humans with any kind of food is mother's milk. And mother's milk is the combination of sweet and fatty tastes.
Amazing.
So our brain literally learned that this is something what gives us comfort. This is something what gives us safety. This is something what gives us that sense of connection with our mothers as well. And for some people, it goes. It's not a problem going forward. But for some of us, when we feel sad, when we feel, and it can be, we can be crying, or we might be thirsty, or whatever might be the reason for eating. If we are getting a milk every single time, then the brain just learns, okay, I need something, I get that sweet thing. And we do need to remember that our brain is a hedonist. It doesn't want to use too much energy. So the shortcuts are the best. Maybe
that's it. So the shortcut is the learned bit.
Yes.
So I'm familiar with that. I'll go because I definitely eat when I'm stressed. And emotionally eat and comfort eat. And so through a particularly stressful period, I will have gained weight. I say, oh, that's such a shame. I've been through the stress and I've gained weight. But that is definitely my go-to. And I know that others will stop eating when they're stressed. It's quite interesting, the extremes.
This one is actually a great one because there are two types of stress. If you've got stress which is very short-term one, you normally won't be eating. So if it's a very stressful situation and it's happening for an hour or maybe for 15 minutes, or just for a few days, then that would normally stop you from eating. And if there is prolonged stress, normally we would be eating because there will be that pressure in us all the time. And what we want to do, we just want to lower the pressure. And quite often, our brain actually learns that when we eat something, we feel that relief. It's like, better. Much better now. We
and
had
it's
a
quite
little bit of
immediate,
chocolate.
actually, isn't it?
Oh yes, absolutely.
It's not till it's digested. It's that exact moment, isn't it?
Because the digestion starts. Actually, the digestion doesn't even start when you have a bite of chocolate. And we are going to talk about chocolate. I've got nothing against chocolate. But let's go.
I'm half Swiss, and it's Swiss National Day today, so we have to bring in Toblerone.
Yes. Bring Toblerone
I feel
in.
chocolate is coursing through my body at any one time, every single day.
I love this. So when it comes to that chocolate, the digestion or the process of digestion doesn't start when we have the first bite, because when you look at chocolate, your eyes are noticing it, and all of a sudden you can feel that it's like, okay, so my mouth is starting preparing for that, because this is what happens. The enzymes in our saliva are starting getting prepared to the digestion process. That's why mindful eating is basically extending the time when we eat the chocolate, and instead of eating it from the wrapper or somewhere, maybe the wrapper is somewhere in your bag, and you try to just grab a piece and eat it when no one's noticing. When it comes to mindful eating, I always say to my clients that just make sure that you don't eat food straight from the package. Because when you put it on a plate and when your eyes can start actually noticing, okay, this is the portion I'm going to have. That digestion process actually starts a little bit earlier. But the reason why we get such an instant satisfaction and pleasure from eating something, we really think that we have chocolate, it gives us a relief, and then we feel awesome. The reality is that when we have that piece of chocolate, our brain is just flooded with that amount of sugar, with dopamine and with everything else. And the receptors are just shut down for a moment. So it's not that we feel much better straight away, but we can't feel those emotions as much as we felt just before we ate it. And then because the brain is thinking, again, the shortcut. So it's like, I'm stressed, I eat chocolate, I feel better. Okay, great. Next time when I feel stressed, let's go have chocolate because I will feel better. And when it comes to those moments, and it will be happening with moms as well. There are so many things happening around that we can't even focus on having some food. And sometimes we ate something, and after an hour or after half an hour, it might be, you can find the package and it's like,
Did I eat
eat
that?
it?
Yeah. It's
How did it
autopilot,
happen?
isn't it?
Yes. It's almost like we numb ourselves and we are not aware of it.
And we're quite stressed as parents, particularly in the early months and the early years. You know, we're sort of on the go all the time. So I'm curious to know how many parents you have seen who actually sit down at the table with their children when they eat, and they eat at the same time, or how many parents feed their children first and then maybe graze a little bit or just not, or stand up and eat, and how much that affects what the children are seeing, how they're modelling, how the parents are modelling their own eating habits.
Oh, there will be lots of different examples, but I will just say about a few of them. One of my very recent clients, she's actually the youngest mum I've had, because she had a baby 5 months ago. And we have conversations about, breastfeeding as well.
Yes.
And I'm not an expert, so I can't say anything, but I was telling her about how our brain works when we get mother's milk in the beginning of our lives.
Yeah.
And she realized that because it's her first baby, every single time when he was crying or she didn't know what to do, she was getting overwhelmed. So she was feeding him to calm him down.
Yeah.
But through our conversations, she realized that sometimes what he's craving is just touch, is just hug, is the connection.
Yes.
And it was so beautiful because after 2 of our sessions, she came to the third one and she said, I've realized that I'm feeding him very consciously now. I'm not doing this because I don't know what to do and I just want him to calm down. So this is something really impactful because the life of that baby might change. And I'm not talking that you always have to be conscious of that, because of course it's impossible, let's face it.
Yeah.
But even if it's once every big number of times, then as long as you know why you are doing something, or as long as the mom knows, then there is a much bigger chance that the child's relationship with food will be different as well. Because we do take a lot of habits from our parents, and it's something what is really really beautiful, and at the same time sometimes we don't realize that is the conversation about love languages. I think for a lot of us, a lot of our moms, maybe didn't know exactly how to explain or how to express their emotions or their love to us. And quite often it would be through food, through cooking for us. And this is love as a service. And it's very, very natural. And sometimes, and especially then when we were becoming, and I had exactly the same, when I was a teenager, and every time when I was on a diet and my mom was cooking, I was getting frustrated because it's like, why are you against me? It's almost like I would never say it. It's like, I can't eat those things. Why are you cooking them? And poor mothers, they're just showing their love through this, and then having conversations. It's something what can really, really help. So I think that's important, and also something what comes, and it's not only when it comes to feeding children or us being fed by our parents. It's what you said, that kids always come first. And this is something what I've realized with my mom, and I've been talking to a lot of my friends as well, and we all had that realization that because we always felt that our moms can do everything for us, and they would always do things for themselves at the end or in the end, or we've never seen them resting because they were always doing something. Then we take that on and we become, with amazing and really great intentions, we become a little bit of people pleasers because we don't know what to do to put ourselves first. And then it's almost, that's why
because our mom has perhaps modelled putting herself last because she's always putting us first.
Yes, exactly. It was always with great intentions. And again,
well, exactly. And with all the love in the world, as you say, and this is, selfless behaviour that's very, very subconscious. But also, gosh, if we were to know that, I would sit down and read a book more often. Actually, that's okay, to show that it's okay to have a little bit of time.
Definitely. I remember when I realized, and that was when I was already in my 30s, and I had actually that conversation with my mom, and I said, like, I never saw you reading a book or doing something. And she literally said to me, I always read books and was doing some crosswords, but you were always sleeping. Or you were just somewhere out. It was three of us.
So while you were sleeping,
yeah. So
that was
once
her
everything
downtime.
was down, that was the once everything was done, that was the downtime. But of course, us as children, we never saw it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that a lot of mums, that's probably as well, but a lot of mums struggle with resting. It's almost like we take that narrative on that we are only worthy something or we have value when we do something. And every time when we want to rest, our inner critic is like, you have to do something because otherwise it's like who are you if you are not doing something? I keep saying that we are human beings, but quite often we are actually human doings.
So
we completely
true.
forget about the
So
fact that we
true.
need to be as well, not only do all the time.
And just stare into space for a little bit.
Yes.
With a cup of tea in the morning, standing on the grass outside, grounding.
Definitely.
How great. And it could just be 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It doesn't need to be masses of time, does it?
Yes, and it really helps with what you are saying about stress, that when you are stressed, you would normally put some weight on. And that is such a common common pattern. Because what happens is we are normally cut off here. This is we are in our head, and this is where we are in our body.
Yep.
And it was Joe Dispenza who said that thoughts are the language of our mind and emotions are the language of our body. And the reality is that we spend so much time here that we completely forget about the fact that we can't outthink our emotions. If we are feeling stressed, if we are feeling sad, if we are feeling angry, those emotions will be stored in our body.
Yes.
That's why going for a walk, practicing breath work. And when I say practicing breath work, it doesn't mean that you have to, for 15 minutes, sit somewhere and just keep breathing.
Yeah.
You can literally, as we are sitting now,
I'm noticeably taking a deep breath.
if you take deep breath, but you know what is really important? Quite often when we are when we are told, or take a deep breath, we would take a deep breath, but we will take a deep breath into our lungs. But the reality is that to really feel that connection and to really feel a little bit relieved, we need to take a breath into our diaphragm. And for someone who might be spending, like in my case, and in all honesty, I think this is something what I realized within the last 12 months of my life, that I spent most of my life making sure that my stomach is flat.
Yeah.
So I will be literally just breathing in the air, and I will be making sure that there is no air in my diaphragm. And when you actually really breathe in, like take a breath in, it almost feels like, this is different. But this is the best way to actually start that body-mind connection. And sometimes even when we are on calls, or even when we are with the baby, we can actually take that deep breath in and breath out, or the 3 of them or 5 of them.
Yeah.
And in that moment, this is actually a really good way to stop the vicious circle of thoughts as well, or anxiety, or any kind of thoughts which we have in our heads. There is a saying that if we are stuck in our mind, we need to move our body. And that's also one of the reasons why sometimes we might be stuck in thinking about something or thinking about the problem. And then we'll go for 3 minutes walk, and all of a sudden solution comes. Because we move our body, and it's
and yet at the same time, I don't have time for a walk. I can't walk because that's just no. I've got to sit at my desk and just figure this out, or sit, while I'm changing the nappy, and just I've got to figure this out. But actually, putting the baby in a pram, going for a walk, and just clearing everyone's head, or taking half an hour of a work day to walk when you think you should be working, but actually the walking you'll find the solution.
Or even just walk, if we can't get outside, go to the living room and do like a lap or 2. This is something actually what my psycho-nutritionist taught me. And when she said that for the first time, I was literally laughing, and I said that there is absolutely no way that it's going to work. Quite often when we are stressed and when we are working or doing something, and we have that habit of we are doing something and then we find ourselves in a fridge.
Yes.
This is the habit.
Yes. And a hazard of working from home.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And the thing is that a great way to break the habit is literally do something between the moment that you are sitting and something is happening and the moment you are finding yourself in a fridge. And I remember my psycho-nutritionist, she said, okay, if you can't go outside, just do 3 extra laps around your living room. And when I was doing this, of course, you can't remember to do it every time because
and you
this
feel a
is
bit silly because like,
and
oh my
it's
gosh, this is just ridiculous.
but it really helped.
Yeah.
It really helped because it's interrupted the habit, the connection in our brain between the neural patterns. And this is something what I've been doing with my
That's a great takeaway,
clients.
Anna. It's a great. I remember talking about modelling. I used to. I still do actually. I walk around my sitting room when I'm on the phone. And when the girls were little and they had their little Fisher Price phones, they started walking around. And I was like, why are you walking around the room? And then Joey was like, well, have you ever seen yourself on the phone? And I was just doing this and I just walk and talk. And they were doing exactly the same. And I didn't see it.
And this is actually brilliant because you can just move your body a little bit more. And then when we move our body, we really digest the emotion better as well.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens. And then we are present a little bit more in our body.
Yes.
And we are guilty, all of us, we are guilty of being stuck in our head. And that's basically what it means, that we can't even feel how our body feels. We don't know how different emotions are felt in our body as well. Sometimes we might think that, oh, I'm hungry.
Yes.
But the reality is, oh, maybe I'm thirsty, or maybe I'm just feeling a little bit frustrated, because that's what happens actually when we are frustrated, a little bit angry. We can feel a little bit of tension around our stomach. And this is something what blew my mind when I heard it for the first time. When we are a little bit frustrated, we quite often would go to food to eat, because there are two ways. You can eat something or you can move. Movement is a great way to process anger or frustration. But when we eat something, we actually move because we do this. And it's such a tiny movement.
The process of unwrapping the chocolate.
Yes.
Lots more movement there.
Absolutely. And you do something.
Interesting.
And this is how you...
Or you prepare it. Yeah.
And this is how you start processing the emotions. So the pressure goes down, the tension goes down. That's why I say, and actually one of my clients, when we were talking about doing the laps around living room, she started using a skipping rope. She just put it in a living room. And then after 3 weeks, she realized that what her body was actually craving was movement, not food. And she started doing skipping exercises on skipping ropes as a part of her day. Yeah. Not a long one. It's like a minute.
Yeah.
That's enough. And that's a break.
I love that. And then it seems to me that there's then a difference between hunger then that is emotional rather than hunger that's physical.
Yes.
And the emotional hunger, for all the reasons that you just said, creates an almost hungry feeling in your tummy, but we don't really know the difference, perhaps.
Yes.
Because if it's between meals, say, or if you're really hungry, you know you're going to be hungry if you haven't eaten for 6-7 hours.
Yes.
But if you've just eaten a meal and you're hungry an hour later, you're not really hungry.
Yes. And this is a great example, because there are a few differences. One of the big ones between emotional hunger and physical hunger is predictability. Because you know that if you haven't eaten, then after a few hours you will be hungry. Yeah. And this is the physical hunger. You can predict. With the emotional one, no way that you can predict it. Sometimes it might be something happens and all of a sudden you just start thinking about a particular food. And that's something what is the second biggest difference between emotional and physical hunger. Yes. Because if you are physically hungry, if I give you carrots and broccolis, you would say thank you and you will eat them because you are starving, let's say. But if you are emotionally hungry, you would normally have that particular one or two foods.
But then if you're a new parent, constantly around you, there are things twinkling at you, whether it's leftover fish fingers or spaghetti bolognese or chocolate or birthday parties. How do you navigate that? That's just mean.
That's a great question, because here, apart from asking ourselves question, okay, am I hungry or am I tired or am I maybe frustrated and I just want to feel a little bit better, and if I eat those things then I will feel a little bit better. That might help. But most importantly, the question is about waste. How do you feel about throwing food away? Because a lot of us will be coming from the families where our parents, grandparents or great-grandparents were the generation who experienced Second World War and
Yeah.
massive food scarcity. And I would say that that happens probably to around 70% of my clients,
Interesting.
that they don't even realize the fact that their fridge always have to be full, or they always have to have things in their cupboards, or they always eat everything from the plates,
Yes.
or their plates, or plates for of their kids.
Well, for sure.
as well.
We were like, if you don't, it's just rude.
Exactly.
It's not good manners. Yeah.
It's actually, there are a few different aspects to that, because on one hand it will be rude, and that's coming again from our grandmothers or maybe aunties who are always putting a lot of love into preparing those foods, and somehow they thought that if children don't eat it, then it's almost like they don't love me, they don't appreciate me. So it's so when we were children, if we are one of those, or when moms listening to this podcast, they might actually realize that maybe they were those kids who are always told, if you don't eat everything, then it means that maybe you don't love your mommy or your daddy. Or sometimes it would be the tricks that, oh, and this is for mommy and this is for daddy. And it's almost like if you don't eat, then you just don't show respect. Yes. So that's one aspect. But the other aspect, very important one, is the value of food. Because if I throw away food, then it means that I don't have respect to people who grew that food, people who cooked that food, but also the money which someone needed to spend. And there is a difference between years and years ago when really, and it's not even about quality of food, because food is food. We can spend another 3 hours.
Well, there's a whole
talking
different
about
podcast
quality.
on that. Yeah.
Exactly. So
I don't think this is going to be our first conversation, last conversation.
No, it's more about having just asking ourselves, what do we want to do? And this is something what I say to some of my clients, and I share it publicly as well, because it hit me few years ago when I realized, and I had those flashbacks with me standing with the plate full of leftovers of whatever I just binged on, and I couldn't eat anymore. And the choice was, okay, I'm going to put it in a bin, but my head is saying, no, you can't throw away food. This is food. It doesn't matter that it's something what's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
But this is food. You can't throw this away. And then I realized that the choice is very simple. I will put it in a bin, or I will treat my body as a bin. And when it hits me,
Anna,
it's like,
that's golden.
That's just it. And the choice is ours.
That is amazing.
And it's this is something what is very simple.
Yeah.
But when we actually realize that this is just a voice in our heads or something what we learned again.
It is conditioning, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And the other centre, because I think I'm about 20 years older than you. So, I'm the next generation above. And it's interesting, your experience to my experience. But the other sentence that I'm very familiar with is, well, think of all the children in the world who don't have food. You must eat.
Yes.
And so there's a guilt trip into...
100%.
And I remember often thinking and saying, well, I can't, if I eat it or I don't, there's still... How can I help the children? And,
exactly.
It's like I felt slightly helpless because I was like, oh my gosh, have I got to now eat 1,000 meals? But it was like, well, you're lucky enough to have food on your plate, so you must finish it all. And so there's a little bit of a guilt thing there. Or look, I know I'm lucky. I have a plate of food on my plate. That's a different angle.
Yes.
Again, isn't there?
And there is a difference between, gratitude and guilt. Absolutely. Both start with G.
Yeah.
But the fact is that then, okay, so if you look at it logically, there is nothing you can do for those children, or maybe there are
in
charities,
a different format, but not in that exact moment to
not
finishing
in that
the meal.
exact moment,
Yeah.
but you've got impact on what will be happening to your body. And that's the thing. And there is the situation which is hypothetical, and there is the situation which is real. And the searches or the information which was published actually a few months ago. So if someone is watching this in years and years ahead, it was beginning of 2024 when we actually reached the point where obesity is much bigger problem now than the hunger in the world. I do believe that it's in a lot of cases it's about awareness. Because the moment you start seeing something, the moment you see something, you can't unsee it.
Yes.
And sometimes just being aware of something really can make a massive difference.
Yeah.
That's why I encourage, when I talk to different people in different spaces, I encourage them to have like a free discovery call. Because I have so many examples of people who literally, we had 20 minutes conversation and they realize, oh wow, so I do this, and that. I never realized that. And they start changing things and that's it. Because it doesn't mean that if someone might be struggling with emotional eating or binge eating or body dysmorphia for 20, 30, 40 or 50 years, it doesn't mean that it's going to take 20, 30 or 40 months to heal it.
Yeah.
No, sometimes it's just one conversation. Sometimes it's just literally few sessions, or sometimes it's just few months. For some people, it might be longer. But the reality is that you never know. Until you try, you never know. It's interestingly, yesterday I had a conversation with my client, and she actually said she became a parent when she was 18 years old. And she got into that mindset that where her children were in the house for next 20 years. She needed to make sure that everything is done for them. And now they moved out last year. And she realized that she's feeling like now she can do whatever she wants. And she started putting a lot of weight on.
Yeah, because no one's telling you to stop, and
Exactly.
I'm a bit rebellious, and
And that's the thing. And we were having a conversation yesterday, and her go-to were takeaways. And she realized we've been working together for 3 weeks, and she literally realized she wasn't aware of the fact that she stopped going for takeaways that much. And it was during the conversation, she was like, oh yeah, you're right. I only did it 4 times instead of 10. And then during the conversation, she realized that I've been spending £300 a month just on that, because I knew that it wasn't good for me, but for me, it was like a treat.
Yes.
Because
and I worked
now
really
I can do something
hard
for myself.
yes,
exactly. And this is the money. I can spend this money. Okay, I could save it for something else. And it was very interesting as well, because she was one of those who was she was eating after her children, etc. For a long time. And she had that narrative, that belief that if something tastes really good, it must be unhealthy. Because healthy food is not good.
That's another light bulb moment. Yes.
And she loves cooking.
That's the word treat, isn't
yes,
it? Yes.
Exactly. So if something is tasty, and we are very beautifully going to that topic of why everything what is happening now when it comes to obesity is happening, because there are so many beliefs which we were fed by external sources, which are not true actually, but we believe them. And going back to that conversation about sugar, and again, it's not like I'm against sugar, because I do believe that once you have healthy relationship with food, you can really eat whatever you like, because this is your choice. You are in charge, and you can make a decision. If you want to have a piece of cake, you've got a piece of cake. You don't beat yourself up for the next 3 days. And trust me that that piece of cake or piece of chocolate will make much less harm to your body, or even the whole chocolate or 3 chocolates. They will make much less harm to your body than beating yourself up for the next 3 days and being in constant stress. Because that's what happens. But yeah, one of those beliefs, a very common one, is that fat makes you fat. And all of this, not going into details, but it started those 50, 60 years ago, where there was a big boom on eating a lot of carbohydrates, the pyramid as well. You need to eat a lot of carbohydrate during the day. There is nothing wrong with the carbohydrates, but what happened is the light products, diet products, became really really popular, and already like they were everywhere. But what we don't realize is the fact that fat is extremely incredible transmitter of taste. So if you take fat away from a yogurt or from anything else, you will lose part of the taste as well. So you need to add some sugar instead. And people don't realize that when there is something with the fit, healthy, diet, 0%, we think automatically that, oh, okay, we are eating this, so it means that we are being healthy. But the fact is that if you look at the full fat product and 0% fat product, okay, you've got less calories simply because fat has more calorie. 1 gram of fat has 9 calories, 1 gram of sugar has 4 calories. So this is just pure maths. But when you look at the content of sugar, 0% products will always have more sugar. That's why they are addictive as well.
Yes.
And because you are not getting satisfaction, because that taste is slightly different, you will eat more of them.
And you think you can because it's zero.
Because it's healthy.
Fat.
That's the thing. And a great example which I love to give when it comes to the taste transmitter is scrambled eggs with nothing and scrambled eggs with a little bit of butter. Those are like two completely different breakfasts. And funny enough, the one which has butter, if you have it for breakfast with some avocados, with some vegetables, that will keep you satisfied for longer as well. I've spent so many years counting calories. If someone wants to count calories, go ahead. But I do believe that our body actually knows how much food we need, but we just need to give it enough nutrition so it can actually start to or get to know itself.
Yes.
And this is something what was really actually triggering me a few years ago when people were saying, listen to your intuition, listen to your intuition. Your body will tell you what to eat. But if you spend years and years eating a lot of processed foods, because that's what gives you comfort, that's what gives you, the feeling of belonging. That's what, when you're lonely, you eat. When you don't feel very well, you eat. When you are overstressed, you eat. You just eat those things all the time. How can I know what the intuition is? It's my intuition was bananas has too much sugar, fat makes you fat, and those kind of narratives. I think we all heard that, you should be eating vegetables before you eat everything else. And I remember hearing that years and years ago, and I never knew why people are saying this. I mean, it made sense. You eat vegetables first, so your stomach gets fuller, and then you eat less. But then when I started doing a little bit of research and how it affects the glucose spikes, so the sugar in our blood, it actually makes a lot of sense, because when we eat vegetables and when we start with vegetables or have some starters with vegetables, the fiber which is in vegetables really almost like creates the kind of mesh in our stomach, which really helps.
So vegetables with skin on, would you say? Or is there more fiber in like the skin of a carrot? So, cook carrot with the skin on.
Yes, it can be like that, but sometimes we don't even have to get too much into details, because if we don't eat any vegetables, then it's better to eat whatever it will be.
That's a good point.
Just having the full ones. Or the full ones, the actual carrots. Because then even when we eat carbohydrates and when we have desserts at the end, the sugar from those foods, when it goes to our blood, it goes to our blood slower, which means that we won't have those spikes of glucose, which means that we won't have the energy crashes as well. And that's also something what is a great day-to-day tip. If you eat any sweets, or if you eat any desserts or any chocolate or chocolate cake, try to eat it as a dessert after a meal, because then you will have a lot of protein, you will have a lot of fiber from different dishes and from different meals, and digestion of that would be much better, and you won't have the situations when you eat something sweet and after 2 hours your energy is low and you feel a little bit down as well, and then shame and guilt come into our heads.
So interesting, isn't it?
And also something what is important, and it goes to emotional hunger and physical hunger. Our body sometimes gets confused, and we might be thirsty, but we think that we are hungry. And it is, I think, most of us might be guilty of not drinking enough. And when I say drinking enough, it doesn't mean that we have to drink water only and nothing else. No, because there is any kind of fluids which are ideally without sugar.
For example.
Tea, coffee, soups.
Yes.
Or any kind of, you can always do, any kind of smoothies and things like that. all of them can help us stay hydrated. And sometimes when we are hungry, I would literally say, just have a small glass of water. Not because I want you to trick your stomach and not have food, because that's something what I remember from the diet industry as well. When you are hungry, drink, because then you know, you'll trick your body. It doesn't work like that always, but it really helps to see the difference. Okay, I was just thirsty. And sometimes it
sorted
really works.
that out. Yes. Yeah.
It really helps.
So
and
interesting.
it's to do with the hunger hormone and satiety hormone, ghrelin and leptin, because the reality is that if we are dehydrated, our hunger hormone levels are higher. So that actually, and this is something what can be checked.
There's another golden nugget. I didn't know that, because yes, what are we? 70% water.
Yes.
That's crazy. And I notice it when I don't drink enough. Apart from the sort of dry mouth, dry lips, I get a headache, and you sort of feel it.
And it's
somehow,
almost like the brain fog as well. We can't focus on that because our brain is, of course, with lots of fats and lots of water. So those are the small things which we can just do.
So brilliant. So, Anna, just amazing. Amazing. And as a parent, setting out on the journey of parenthood, how do you have like 2 or 3 things? You've covered so much already, but 2 or 3 of your top tips to give to a new parent about A, how they can look after themselves best, and B, when the point comes of giving their children food, which is going to happen 6 months-ish down the line, and they're going to be responsible for their children's food for quite a few years, how to start off in the best possible way so that everyone's on the right trajectory and they don't have to fix stuff later.
I think we all need to go through things in life, so it's impossible to get
make
it
the
perfect.
mistake. I like that.
But I always say that if we are perfect today, there is no room for improvement tomorrow.
Okay, good. Well, I am imperfection itself, so yes.
I'm taking this because when it comes to those tips, I would say definitely for parents, not even for kids, but for parents, and especially young moms. Quite often there are situations where you might be telling yourself, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, I shouldn't be eating this, I shouldn't be eating that. That's really big trigger to actually eat that, because our mind doesn't like when we put some kind of orders and limitations.
Yes.
And quite often when we start allowing ourselves to have just a little bit of something, then we realize that, okay, we can have a little bit and then we are satisfied.
Yes.
So this is something what really helps with the mental pressure as well. Not only the physical that we want to eat something, but also with the mental one. So definitely something like that. See, if you sometimes crave something or want something, just have it. Because if you want to have that chocolate and then you will have a rice cake, and then you will have an apple, and then you will have a little bit of pasta or a little bit of something, you might end up having that chocolate anyway, but you will have additional 500, 800 calories, and you will feel really bloated and you will feel guilty after that. So that's something what will definitely help. And something what I hear quite often from moms who already had adult children is that when kids are crying or when kids are saying something, quite often we might say, as parents, however, I'm not a parent, but I've heard it so many times as well, oh, don't cry, or, be a big girl. Or when someone is really upset, we just say that, oh, it's okay, it's absolutely fine. And then we might give some food. And this is the quickest way to learn as a child that our emotions are not really valid, and it doesn't matter how I feel. When I express it, no one will actually hear it. And this is something what is really important. Sometimes just ask the child a question, if we can ask if the children are a little bit older. What's going on? What is happening? Instead of giving some food. I know that
I see that you've had a really tough day.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it, or should we talk about it later?
Yes.
Because they're showing you by their actions.
Yes, absolutely. Or sometimes just
a
ask...
toddler, who's having a moment, who can't express through words, is expressing through their physical actions, and actually probably just wants to hug it out. in that moment. It's like, just give me some time. You've given all the time to my baby brother, and actually I came first.
That's the thing. And
Yeah.
because food is that it is a really easy thing to give. And when I say easy, it's a little bit of a tricky word, because sometimes you really don't know what to do to calm that baby down. But sometimes if you can just see maybe there is something different happening, it would be great. Because those behaviors which we have, when we cry, we are giving food or chocolates, or when we misbehave, we are giving chocolates. When we do something wrong, we are not giving chocolates.
Well, that's such a good point, because I was just thinking that as you were speaking. What about the situations where food removal is a threat and a reality? Well, you haven't behaved well, so you're not going to get this treat, or you're not, and so therefore you associate that treat with something that you can do when you have free will and you're living on your own.
Yes.
You think, well, I'll just have the ice cream because
Exactly.
no one's telling me not to. In fact, I'm going to take the spoon and I'm going to eat it out of the tub.
Absolutely. And it's also, you need to eat your dinner because if you don't do it, then you won't have a dessert. And then it's almost that belief that healthy food is the one which I don't like.
Is the yucky one.
Is the punishment.
Yes.
Is the one, I have to eat it.
Yeah.
I must eat it.
So
Because
how do we frame that with our children?
I think one of the best advices to parents will be to not label food as good and bad food, right and wrong food. Because what happens, and a big number of people who struggle with emotional eating or binge eating, they would be using those labels. And the reality is that the moment you eat bad food, you feel a bad person. So if you're already a bad person, you can do
You might as well
more
have the
bad
extra.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the reality is that there is processed food and not processed food. There is food which will bring you a lot of benefits, and there is food which will bring you a lot of non-benefits.
Yeah.
Or they are the fresh foods and they are the different foods. So I think not labeling foods bad and good. This is something that will definitely help going forward.
Amazing,
So, yes.
amazing.
And
And if there were one pearl of wisdom that you would give to anyone expecting a baby now, what would it be?
this is a great question. I would say just allow yourself to feel how you actually feel. Because sometimes we really think that we need to be really strict with what we are eating, how we are feeling about food, because then the baby will be exactly the same as me and I will stress my child a lot. And I think if we really allow ourselves to just feel and allow ourselves to eat what we might be craving or we might be we might fancy, that will keep us in safety. Our body won't be in a fight or flight state. It will be in this rest and digest state. And the reality is that the baby will be much happier when the mom is happy as well. And then when mom is really stressed because I can't eat this, I shouldn't eat this, or I've eaten so much and I shouldn't have additional portion of this. Then when we put ourselves under this pressure, baby can feel it, because this is the cortisol, the stress hormone, which can do much more than just stress us out. So yeah,
that's a very good one. And then a pearl of wisdom for someone who is not yet a parent and is perhaps baby curious or parent curious.
I love this.
Yeah, because you talked to me beautifully about that the other day.
Yes, and I would definitely love to share it, and I think that would be the pearl of wisdom. Up to the age of 32, I felt somehow under a lot of pressure to be married and to have children. And I remember, for some reason, that pressure, I felt that it was coming from my family or from my mom. And I remember I was 32 and I said to my mom, it was over the phone, I said to her, I'm not exactly sure if I want to get married and I'm not exactly sure if I want to have kids. And I spent probably days thinking about that conversation. And I said that to her and she was like, okay, this is your life. So this is your decision.
Yeah, quick as a flash. Yeah.
And I felt like 20 kilograms just went off my shoulders. But something what was really, really interesting. Then I was single for a number of years. The fact was that then when I started working on myself and I actually accepted that, oh, okay, this is where I am in my life now. And for a number of years, I really thought that I don't want to have children. And I was probably around 36. I'm 39 now. And I was 36 when I realized that, okay, I can make a decision that I don't want to have children. But maybe it's not actually down to me only. Maybe if I meet someone who's not even really into kids, but who's someone who I feel that we are creating something so incredible that it would be just a massive gift to just create something what will be another gift to the world. And I remember that breakthrough, and I remember I was talking to my best friend and she actually realized exactly the same thing. And it was 2 years later when I actually met my current partner, and he loves kids. That's the thing, that when I met him, I knew that he is the person, if I want to have children, he is the person I would definitely have children with. And this is something...
He's your end destination. There you go. So it's really about the person and the person you are when you are with the person that you want to be.
Exactly. This is about the connection. I think this is about the connection, and also something what really helped me with, especially in the beginning of my 30s, or actually, around 32, from 32 to 35, I felt a lot of pressure because the clock is ticking.
Yes.
And then
so hard for us women.
It really is.
Honestly, the men are just like, oh, the wine gets better the older they get, supposedly. But this wretched clock, even though the birth rate, it's very interesting. Our clients over the last 25 years, I think the average was 32. Now it's about 37 and a half, 38. So it's very, generally, and that follows the pattern of we are just having babies later.
And you know what? I will actually say something about this just to finish off as well. But that thing with that pressure is, I realized that, okay, if there is a baby who wants to have me as a mum, and back then, whoever it's going to be as a father, it doesn't matter if I'm 35, if I'm 40, or if I'm 42, or if I'm 31, it's going to happen. Because it's more about that believing. And it doesn't matter if it's true or if it's not true, because it really helped me. And this is something what I think is really powerful. If there is something what can help you to just make life easier, just learn how to believe in it. Because the reality is that we are living this, what is happening in our head, we are the only people who can hear it. And if we can make that place a little bit better place, we definitely should try to do it, because
we'll make the world a better place for other people around us, because we'll be happier beings. And the glimmers, I always talk about glimmers, looking for glimmers every day. And little glimmers of hope, and they might be little things, they might be big things, but we're more likely to see them. We're more likely to then be positive, create positive ripple effects ourselves, rather than the reverse. And actually, it's a bit more fun.
And I think we are actually feeling safer with ourselves as well, and we become more aware of what is happening in our, with our habits, with our behaviors, and I think we are just becoming more conscious people, and then we can become more conscious parents. And something what I've realized, because within my friends as well, it used to be that in their 20s they used to have kids, some of them, and now it's mid-30s or maybe late 30s. But what I have realized, at least with the people I've been friends with, those kids are much calmer. It feels almost like they will become more conscious people going forward, simply because the parents have done some work on themselves. They maybe know a little bit more about themselves as well, and then because their nervous systems work a little bit different than when they were in their 20s. I think there is a little bit less chaos sometimes as well, and then kids can feel it.
Because that inner growth is the key, and actually not everyone. Some people are quite fearful of it. It's like, oh, what does that even mean? But, you know, you and I are on a growth journey this year particularly, and it's really interesting because the more that you do work on your inner self, and this is what Jess tells us the whole time,
100%.
without the inner work, you can't fulfill your purpose and therefore make an impact on the world around you, because you're less regulated, less steady, maybe less stable, you know. And I'm learning, sometimes it's instinctive, sometimes it's intuitive, but this conscious thing that you talk about is really interesting. So if you're consciously growing and learning and trying to be a better version of yourself so that you can be a better version for everybody else, but actually not losing sight of yourself, that's the key. That's the nugget, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Because you matter at the centre of your particular orbit. There are actually a lot of people who love you. And who want you to be around and healthy.
Yeah.
So I think our job as humans and as parents is to look after ourselves in the best way possible so that we can look around and help and be part of our village. And whether that's our neighbours or our work colleagues or our parenting friends, you know, we're all in this world together for such a short time. And actually, you know, if we can have a bit of fun, be the best we can be.
That will definitely help.
Because we'll be gone in a minute. Do you know what I mean? But our legacy is the gift that we give to our friends and our people around us and our children if we have them. But if we don't have children, that we still are parenting, because we're parenting all of our people around us.
Oh, absolutely. And I think we all have some nieces, some nephews,
all of us,
or
godchildren.
Friends. Oh, yes.
And we're parenting often our parents at some point, or our grandparents, or our, you know, I think we're born to look after other people, and if we can do that in a positive way, that's a great thing. Anna, thank you I've loved talking to you.
Thank you so much, Anita.
We've got to chat again. I feel I am very good at going down tangents. So, can we just talk about? But thank you so much for coming to chat to me today.
Oh.
So many nuggets. So many nuggets.
Not chicken nuggets, though.
Not chicken nuggets.
Exactly. We've got nothing against
golden
them.
Nuggets.
It's golden nuggets. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you've enjoyed this episode and found it helpful, please do like, share and subscribe to our Anita's List podcast show to stay up to date with our latest conversations. Together, we can all be part of the village to support new parents.